Have you ever woken up suddenly in the middle of the night, the clock glowing somewhere between 3 and 5 a.m.? Perhaps you felt an unexplainable restlessness, a sense that something greater was at work, calling you. They say it's the hour when the veil between heaven and earth is the thinnest, when whispers from the divine are closest to our hearts. What if those restless moments aren't random at all? What if they're an invitation, a sacred nudge from God Himself? Let me ask you, when you're jarred awake in those early hours, what's your first thought? Do you wonder why your sleep was interrupted, brush it off as a bad dream? Or perhaps reach for your phone, scrolling in the dim light to chase away the quiet? But what if that interruption is more than it seems? What if it's a call to align yourself with something deeper, something eternal? In those quiet, fragile hours, God might be reaching out, longing for a conversation, a connection, a moment to guide you toward His purpose. Think back to the last time it happened. The world was asleep and silence wrapped around you like a blanket. The air felt different, heavy yet charged, as if holding a secret only you were meant to uncover. Your heart might have raced, your mind darting from thought to thought, but deep down there was something else, a whisper of hope, a sense of awe. Maybe, just maybe, you were meant to wake up, not just physically, but spiritually. But here's the challenge: when that moment comes, most of us don't know what to do. We feel the weight of the silence, the strangeness of the hour, but we're unsure how to respond. It's easier to dismiss it, to roll over and drift back to sleep, to ignore the stirring within us. And yet, those moments are gifts, precious, fleeting opportunities to draw closer to God's heart. The question is, will you seize them or let them slip away unnoticed? For many, the early morning hours bring a flood of worries and fears. It's as if the darkness amplifies every unresolved thought, every lingering regret. The night can feel like a mirror, reflecting back all we try to avoid during the day. But here's the truth: God doesn't wake you to overwhelm you, He wakes you to free you. Those moments are His invitation to lay your burdens down, to find clarity and peace in His presence. Imagine this: the next time you find yourself awake, staring at the ceiling. Instead of reaching for distractions, you pause, you breathe, you lean into the stillness, allowing it to guide you to something deeper. This is your chance to ask the questions that matter. What is God trying to show me? What path is He leading me to? And most importantly, am I ready to listen? God's timing is never random. Waking you between 3 and 5 a.m. isn't a coincidence, it's an invitation. In those moments, He's calling you to rise above the noise of the world and tune into His voice. But to truly hear it, you must be willing to embrace the discomfort, to sit with the questions and allow God to reveal the answers. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Those moments hold the potential to transform not just your night, but your entire life. When you wake in the stillness, remember this: you are not alone. God sees you, knows your struggles, and desires to guide you toward peace and purpose. But the first step is yours to take. Will you answer His call? Or will you let the moment pass, settling for the temporary comfort of returning to sleep? The choice is yours, and its impact could echo far beyond the confines of a single night. Next time you find yourself awake at that sacred hour, try this: pause, pray, and listen. Start with a simple prayer, asking God to reveal what He wants for you in that moment. You don't need fancy words or grand gestures, just an open heart willing to receive His guidance. Then listen. Listen to the whispers of your soul, to the truths you've been avoiding, to the gentle promptings of God's Spirit. And finally, reflect. Consider what steps you can take to align your life with the purpose He's calling you toward. These 3 simple acts: pause, pray, and listen, can transform a restless night into a sacred encounter. God often speaks in the stillness, in the moments when the world is quiet and our hearts are most open. Waking between 3 and 5 a.m. might feel inconvenient, even unsettling, but it's also a reminder that His plans for you are bigger than your comfort. It's a call to rise, to seek, and to trust that His timing is always perfect. So when that moment comes, don't shy away, lean into it, answer the call, and discover what God has been waiting to reveal to you all along. If you've ever wondered why those early hours pull you from sleep, it's time to explore the significance behind them. Waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. has roots in both spiritual traditions and the natural rhythms of our bodies. For centuries, this time has been called the holy hour, a moment when the distractions of the world fade, leaving only the stillness to connect with the divine. It's not just your body reacting, it's your spirit responding to a call. Think of the quietness that envelops the world at this time. The streets are empty, the hum of life is subdued, and the air seems to hold its breath. In that stillness, your heart is more open, your thoughts clearer, and your spirit more attuned to listening. This is not a coincidence. The Psalms remind us, "In the night I remember your name, O Lord," a powerful reminder that these moments can be sacred if we allow them to be. But what does God want from you in those fleeting hours? What message does He whisper in the silence? Many people believe these moments are opportunities, doors opening to invite you into something transformative. It might be a time for prayer, for laying down the burdens you carry in the daylight. Or perhaps it's a moment to reflect on your purpose, to tune out the chaos of life and ask the deeper questions: where am I going? Who am I becoming? What does God need me to see right now? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. And the answers often come when we're brave enough to embrace the stillness. Consider how often we run from silence. During the day, we fill every moment with noise, conversations, tasks, notifications buzzing incessantly. But waking between 3 and 5 a.m. is a stark contrast to that. It's as though God is clearing the stage, removing distractions so you can hear what truly matters. In the stillness, there's clarity, and in clarity, there is purpose. But let's not shy away from the tension these moments can bring. Waking at such an odd hour can feel unsettling. Your mind might wander to worries, unfinished tasks, unresolved conflicts, or fears about the future. This is natural. It's also a reflection of why this time is so critical. In those hours, your spirit is vulnerable but also open. And that's precisely when God's presence can work most powerfully within you. It's not about ignoring the fears, it's about bringing them to Him. This leads us to the heart of why these moments matter. God doesn't just wake you to contemplate your fears, He wakes you to transcend them. This is a time for surrender, for giving your worries over to the one who promises to carry them for you. It's a time to let go of control and lean into trust that there's a plan greater than the chaos you perceive. These moments are an invitation to partner with Him, to let Him lead you through the dark into the light. But beyond prayer and reflection, there's another layer to these wakeful hours: action. God often stirs us not just to think but to act. Have you ever felt an unexplainable urge to write, to create, or to reach out to someone during this time? That's not random. It's purpose in motion. It's God planting seeds of inspiration, nudging you to move in alignment with His will. The early hours are fertile ground for these moments because your mind is unclouded, your heart open, and your soul yearning for direction. Imagine what might happen if you fully embraced this call. Instead of rolling over, frustrated by the interruption, you rise. You light a candle, open a journal, or simply sit in the dark with your thoughts. You ask God to reveal what He wants you to see, and you listen. Not just with your ears, but with your heart. What could change in your life if you made these moments sacred? What breakthroughs might you experience? What peace might you find? And yet, this isn't always an easy choice. The comfort of sleep is hard to resist, and the weight of exhaustion can feel overwhelming. But consider this: the moments that challenge us the most often hold the greatest potential for growth. God's call isn't always convenient, but it's always intentional. He knows what you need, even when it feels like the last thing you want. And by answering that call, you step into a deeper relationship with Him, one built on trust, obedience, and love. So the next time you wake in those sacred hours, remember it's not an accident. It's an invitation. Will you answer? Will you take that step of faith, leaning into the stillness and allowing God to meet you there? These moments hold the potential to reshape your heart, your mind, and your path. But the choice is yours. Will you let Him in? These wakeful hours, though fleeting, are filled with promise. They're a reminder that God's presence isn't confined to the hours of daylight or the routines of life. He meets you in the unexpected, the uncomfortable, and the quiet. And in doing so, He shows you that His love, His purpose, and His plans are always greater than the darkness you face. Let this be your moment to rise, to seek, and to find the peace He offers. The journey begins now. Have you ever noticed how life's biggest questions often linger in the quiet corners of our minds, waiting for us to slow down and truly listen? Those moments, especially in the stillness of early morning, are not random, they are intentional. They are God's way of inviting us into a deeper understanding of who we are and what He desires for us. This is where the mystery begins. What is it about this hour that feels so heavy with significance, so full of unspoken possibilities? Imagine the early hours as a sacred space where time seems to stretch and the usual distractions fade into the background. It is here that God whispers truths too profound for the noise of the day. But instead of embracing this time, most of us resist it. We tell ourselves it's just insomnia or a coincidence, yet deep down we sense there's more to it. What if the restlessness isn't an inconvenience but an opportunity? An opportunity to uncover what's been hidden, to confront what's been avoided, and to step into the life God has been calling us toward. When you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., it's as if a door is being opened, inviting you to step through. But that door doesn't lead to easy answers or instant clarity. Instead, it leads to a journey, a path of discovery and transformation. The questions you've been avoiding during the chaos of the day can no longer be ignored. The struggles you've been carrying suddenly demand to be faced. And in that sacred silence, God begins to work. But here's the tension: the process isn't always comfortable. Transformation rarely is. Think about it. Every story of growth, every testimony of faith begins with a moment of disruption. A moment when life as we know it is interrupted, forcing us to look beyond the surface and confront what truly matters. Waking at this hour is no different. It's a disruption, yes, but it's also an invitation, a chance to go deeper, to wrestle with the things that have been holding you back, and to discover the strength you didn't know you had. It's in these moments that God does His greatest work, shaping us, refining us, and drawing us closer to Him. But let's not romanticize this process. It's hard, it's messy, and sometimes it feels like we're taking 2 steps back for every step forward. The silence can be deafening, the questions overwhelming. Why me? Why now? What does God want from me? These are not easy questions, and they don't come with easy answers. Yet they are the questions that lead to growth, to purpose, to a deeper understanding of God's love for us. As you wrestle with these questions, you may find yourself facing doubts, fears, and insecurities you thought you'd buried long ago. It's tempting to push them aside, to distract yourself with anything that will make the discomfort go away. But here's the truth: the only way out is through. God doesn't bring these things to the surface to condemn you. He brings them to light so He can heal you, so He can show you that His grace is sufficient, even in your weakest moments. Especially in your weakest moments. Now let's talk about what happens when you lean into this process. When you embrace the discomfort, when you face the questions and allow God to guide you through them, something incredible begins to happen. The struggles that once felt insurmountable start to lose their power. The doubts that once consumed you begin to fade. And in their place, a quiet confidence takes root. A confidence not in your own strength, but in God's faithfulness. This is the transformation He promises, the beauty that comes from the ashes of our struggles, But this journey isn't just about overcoming struggles, it's about discovering your purpose. It's about realizing that the very things you thought disqualified you are the things God wants to use. Your pain, your doubts, your questions, they are not obstacles, they are opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to learn, and to step into the calling God has placed on your life. And it all starts in those quiet, sacred hours, when the world is still and God's voice is clearest. So, when you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., don't reach for your phone. Don't distract yourself with the noise of the world. Instead, pause, pray, and listen. Embrace the silence even if it feels uncomfortable. Ask God what He wants to show you, what He wants to teach you. And then wait. Wait for His answer, knowing that it will come in His perfect timing. It might not be the answer you expect, but it will be the answer you need. This is the mystery of those early hours. They are not just a coincidence or a random interruption. They are a gift, a chance to encounter God in a way that is deeply personal and profoundly transformative. And as you step through that door, as you embrace the process and trust in God's plan, you will begin to see the beauty that comes from surrender, the peace that comes from trust, and the joy that comes from knowing you are walking in His purpose. As the dawn begins to break and the first light of morning filters through your window, something shifts. The questions that kept you awake begin to find their place, like pieces of a puzzle coming together. And in this quiet resolution, there is a profound sense of peace. You see, those early hours weren't just about wrestling with your doubts or confronting your fears, they were about discovering the deeper truth that God is with you, even in the silence, even in the questions, even in the struggles. In these moments, it's not about having all the answers, but about trusting the one who does. It's about surrendering your need for control and embracing the mystery of God's plan. And as you do, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel lighter, freer, as if the weight you've been carrying is no longer yours alone. This is the beauty of surrender, the gift of placing your life in God's hands and trusting that He will carry you through. But the journey doesn't end here. These early hours are just the beginning, a starting point for a life lived with intention and purpose. The lessons you've learned in the stillness about trust, about surrender, about God's faithfulness are meant to carry you into the day ahead, into the decisions you make, the relationships you nurture, the dreams you pursue. They are a reminder that every moment, no matter how ordinary it seems, is an opportunity to walk in step with God. So as you rise and prepare to face the day, take a moment to reflect. What did God reveal to you in the quiet? What burdens did you lay down? And what steps can you take to keep that sense of peace and purpose alive? Maybe it's starting your day with prayer, asking God to guide your steps and give you the strength to follow His will. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who needs encouragement, sharing the light you found in the darkness. Or maybe it's simply choosing to trust, even when the path ahead is unclear. Whatever it looks like for you, know this: God's call doesn't end when the sun rises. He is with you in every moment, guiding you, shaping you, and inviting you to live a life that reflects His love. And as you step into the day, remember that the same God who woke you in the stillness of the night is the same God who walks with you through the busyness of the day. His presence is constant, His love unchanging, His purpose for you unwavering. So, what will you do with this gift? How will you take what you've learned in the quiet and carry it into the noise of the world? The choice is yours and the possibilities are endless. But one thing is certain when you walk with God: every moment becomes sacred, every step purposeful, every breath a testament to His grace. If this message has touched your heart, if it's given you hope or clarity, take a moment to share it. Share it with someone who might need a reminder that they are not alone, that their struggles are not meaningless, that there is a purpose to their pain. And if you're feeling inspired, leave a comment below. Share your story, your thoughts, your reflections. Let's build a community of faith, a place where we can encourage one another and grow together in God's love. Finally, as you go about your day, carry this truth with you: waking in the stillness of the night is not a coincidence. It is a call, a reminder that you are seen, known, and loved by the Creator of the universe. It is an opportunity to draw closer to Him, to align your heart with His, and to walk in the purpose He has for your life. So, embrace it, answer it, and let it transform not just your night, but your entire life. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the LWN YouTube channel and share it with others. Don't forget to spread the word and help us reach more viewers.